So he has to leave. We'll say bye. Many of the men who are drawn to this campaign are showed virtuous, chivalrous values. You know, we want to be good. We are good men. And we ask, what are good men to do? The question of chivalry is an interesting one. You know, one that, you know, is it the right way to be? You know, opening a door, helping someone out, being cares is something that we all should be doing now to one another, women and men across the spectrum. It's a question, though, but I do have a question about this to the men who think about virtuous and chivalrous values. Thinking about these are men who serve and protect. I know we have law officers in the room who I admire and honor quite a bit. You will always be our heroes. We have another step to take, and it's a step that we all take together. It has to do with, in some metaphorical way, turning around and talking to the men you're protecting us from. In a sense, you know, I think both our chairpersons represent these kind of values. That when we work to protect our families, this is a strong thing. Strength and protection are strong male values. It's taught in our words, our songs, our poetry. Our fathers teach sons, mothers ask for it. It's about stand up, be strong. What does that mean? Well, I think that part of that strength is having this conversation with other men you know about the meaning and the depth of the question we're asking today about where our violence comes from and how we have a future without it, in a personal sense. So, turning around. So with that said, I want to say some words about our chairpersons and introduce them. In identifying this year's campaign co-chairpersons, we sought out men who made a mark in their personal and professional lives as allies to the violence against women movement. It's our good fortune to have District Attorney Dan Connolly and Jared Barrios both agreed to take on this role. Over the past several months, we've got to know each of them and come to understand what motivates them to do this work. And on behalf of Jane Doe Inc. and everyone involved with the White Ribbon Day campaign, I want to thank you both for your support and leadership and what you've done so far. But before inviting you two up to speak, I'd like to tell our audience a bit about you. We have paragraphs. And so we'll go through here. You know, you sent us these bios, we have to read them. So let's say, for the past 11 years, Dan Connolly has served as a Suffolk County District Attorney for the cities of Boston, Chelsea, Revere, and Winthrop. Knowing the demands of the Suffolk District Attorney's Office, we couldn't be more thrilled when he agreed to take on the added responsibility of this year's co-chairpersonship of Jane Doe Inc.'s White Ribbon Day campaign. The numbers of prosecutions in his office are staggering. Between 40,000 and 50,000 criminal cases every year. Is that right? It's incredible. Sadly, so many of these cases involve sexual and domestic violence, are some of the most difficult to investigate and prosecute. District Attorney Connolly has worked hard to ensure that his office is up to that challenge, of course, though first and foremost, a prosecutor, D.A. Connolly has demonstrated time and again that being a law enforcement officer also means being outspoken and a reliable voice for prevention as well as intervention. So thank you, Dan Connolly. So on to Jared Barrios. Jared Barrios is no stranger to the State House or these issues. Prior to his current position as the Chief Executive Officer of the American Red Cross of Eastern Massachusetts, he served for 4 years in the Massachusetts House of Representatives and 5 years as a state senator. During his tenure, Jared was a dependable ally and inspired leader who took on issues such as improving emergency room services for immigrants, the creation of a state low-income housing tax credit, supporting a woman's right to access health care, a statewide assault weapons ban, and a variety of initiatives to protect victims of sexual and domestic violence. His passion for humanitarian work and background as a Cuban American have also led to his lifelong involvement in many efforts to support causes for marginalized communities everywhere. Please join me in welcoming this year's Massachusetts White Ribbon Day co-chairs Dan Connolly and Jared Barrios.